London, 1700 years ago, was a city both familiar and alien to the eyes of a modern visitor. Known to its inhabitants as Londinium, it was a bustling Roman settlement on the northern banks of the River Thames, emerging as a center of trade, governance, and military strategy. Unlike the sprawling metropolis we know today, Londinium was compact, walled, and carefully planned. Stone and timber buildings lined narrow streets, while markets, docks, and public spaces thrived with commerce and conversation. The city was an intersection of cultures: Romans, Britons, merchants from distant provinces, and travelers from across the empire brought diversity, trade, and new ideas to the streets. The River Thames, winding like a silver ribbon through the landscape, was the lifeblood of Londinium. Long before bridges spanned its waters, ferries and small boats carried goods and people, connecting the city with settlements upstream and the open sea beyond. The riverbanks teemed with activity: traders unloading amphoras of wine, barrels of olive oil, and exotic spices, fishermen pulling nets brimming with river fish, and townsfolk walking along timbered quays, exchanging news and gossip. The water itself was a mirror to the city's vitality, reflecting the motion and rhythm of a society in transition from local tribal settlements to an integrated Roman provincial hub. At the heart of Londinium stood the Forum, a public square that symbolized Roman order and governance. Here, magistrates and officials conducted civic business, disputes were settled, and proclamations announced the decisions of the emperor. Surrounding the Forum were stone temples, administrative offices, and curiously designed basilicas. Citizens and visitors alike would gather in these spaces not only for trade and governance, but also for social interaction. The Forum was alive with the voices of merchants, soldiers, and townspeople, a cacophony that demonstrated the blending of Roman efficiency with local traditions. The streets of Londinium were carefully designed, some paved with stone, others cobbled, and many lined with wooden houses with overhanging upper floors. At night, lamps lit the more important roads, but most streets fell into darkness, echoing the quiet sounds of footsteps and the occasional neigh of a horse. Shops, known as tabernae, were common: small wooden or stone stalls where goods were sold, ranging from everyday essentials like bread, wine, and pottery, to imported luxuries like glassware and fine textiles. Some tabernae even doubled as small inns, providing food, drink, and lodging for travelers from distant Roman provinces. Roman Londinium was not only a city of commerce, but also of culture. Public baths, or thermae, were central to daily life. Citizens would gather to bathe, exercise, and socialize. These baths were architectural marvels of the time, featuring heated floors, cold and hot pools, and elaborate mosaics depicting mythological scenes. Visiting the baths was both a hygienic necessity and a social ritual. Here, people discussed politics, exchanged news from the empire, and engaged in philosophical debate, embodying the Roman ideal that the city was a space for both practical and intellectual engagement. The city was fortified with walls to protect against external threats and maintain Roman authority over the province. These walls, constructed with stone and timber, marked the boundaries of Londinium and included gates that were carefully monitored. Soldiers patrolled the walls, keeping watch for any signs of rebellion or invasion. Within these fortifications, life continued in a rhythm dictated by both Roman order and local custom, creating a unique urban environment where diverse influences coexisted. Daily life in Londinium reflected a blend of Roman structure and local adaptation. Farmers, artisans, merchants, and soldiers formed the backbone of society. The marketplace buzzed with bartering, the streets echoed with the calls of vendors, and workshops hummed with the sounds of hammers and tools, shaping wood, metal, and clay. The people wore garments reflecting both Roman fashion and local traditions: tunics, cloaks and sandals, with wealthier citizens adorning themselves with jewelry and fine fabrics. Social hierarchies were clearly visible, yet interactions in public spaces demonstrated a city bound together by commerce, necessity, and shared urban life. Religion played a central role in the lives of Londinium's inhabitants. Roman gods such as Jupiter, Minerva, and Mars were worshipped alongside local deities. Temples and shrines were scattered throughout the city, some grand and imposing, others small and intimate, serving the spiritual needs of citizens and visitors alike. Rituals, sacrifices, and public festivals marked the calendar, blending Roman religious practice with the beliefs of the native Britons. These ceremonies provided not only spiritual guidance, but also a sense of community, linking the citizens of Londinium through shared experience and tradition. Londinium's economy was vibrant and multifaceted. It was a hub for trade in the province of Britannia, connecting local production with distant markets across the Roman Empire. Imported goods like wine from Gaul, pottery from Italy, and spices from the East traveled along Roman roads and rivers to reach the bustling docks. Skilled artisans produced leather goods, metalwork, and textiles, feeding both local demand and trade networks. The city's prosperity was evident in the density of shops, workshops, and residences, each contributing to the intricate web of urban life. Crime and law enforcement were also prominent in the life of Roman London. Magistrates maintained order, and soldiers ensured compliance with Roman law. Theft, smuggling, and occasional rebellion required attention, and public punishments served as both deterrent and spectacle. Despite these challenges, Londinium thrived, balancing the pressures of growth, governance, and social complexity. The influence of Roman architecture, engineering, and planning was visible everywhere. Roads were laid with precision, aqueducts and drainage systems carried water efficiently, and buildings were designed for both utility and aesthetic appeal. The careful planning reflected the broader Roman philosophy that a city should be both functional and a testament to civilization, standing as a marker of the empire's reach and sophistication. Life in Londinium was vibrant and layered, a mixture of survival, commerce, and social interaction. Food was central to daily life. Markets overflowed with local produce, grains, vegetables, and meats sourced from surrounding farms and estates. Imported delicacies added a cosmopolitan touch. Olives, figs, wine, and exotic spices arrived from across the Roman Empire. Citizens prepared meals in small kitchens with clay pots and open hearths, while wealthier households could afford elaborate banquets served on ceramic and metal dishes. Taverns and inns were common, providing not only sustenance but also gathering places where stories, news, and rumors circulated freely. It was in these lively spaces that one could glimpse the heartbeat of Londinium, where local gossip intertwined with imperial news. Entertainment played a vital role in social life. Public performances and festivals punctuated the Roman calendar, celebrating both traditional Roman gods and local deities. Gladiatorial games, theatrical performances, and chariot races drew large crowds, offering spectacle and communal excitement. Music and dance accompanied religious ceremonies and private gatherings alike, providing both pleasure and ritual significance. The citizens of Londinium participated in these events with enthusiasm, maintaining a cultural life that blended Roman sophistication with local tradition. Even the streets themselves, busy with merchants, craftsmen, and travelers, became stages where human stories unfolded day after day. Roman governance shaped the political and social order of Londinium. Magistrates and officials administered justice, levied taxes, and maintained public works. The presence of Roman soldiers, both stationed within the city and patrolling nearby roads, reinforced imperial authority. The city was divided into administrative sectors, each overseen by officials who ensured that trade, law, and public services ran smoothly. The governor's residence and administrative offices reflected the wealth and importance of the city within the province, serving as centers of power and decision-making. Civic ceremonies were frequent, celebrating imperial victories, local achievements, and religious observances, strengthening the bonds between citizens and the empire. Military life was ever present in Londinium. The Roman army, disciplined and well-equipped, secured the city and surrounding region. Forts and walls protected against external threats and maintained order within. Soldiers marched through streets, exercised rigorously, and occasionally engaged in public displays of strength. Their presence was a reminder of both the might of Rome and the stability it imposed. Londinium's location on the Thames made it strategically vital, serving as a hub for military supply lines, troop movements, and communication across the province. The intertwining of military discipline with urban life shaped a city where order, vigilance, and preparedness were constant companions. The people of Londinium were a diverse mix. Roman settlers, local Britons, traders, artisans, and slaves created a social tapestry rich with language, custom, and skill. Families lived in modest row houses or larger stone villas, depending on wealth and status. Children played in streets and courtyards, learning the practical skills necessary for adulthood. Education was available to the elite, focusing on literacy, rhetoric, and mathematics, while the broader population gained knowledge through apprenticeships, observation, and oral tradition. Social mobility was limited, yet commerce and skill offered opportunities for advancement within the city's economic framework. Religious life remained a cornerstone of Londinium's identity. Temples and shrines dotted the city, serving as focal points for worship, community gathering, and ritual. Romans brought their pantheon of gods, while local Celtic deities persisted in private and communal practice. Festivals combined solemnity with celebration, and offerings, sacrifices, and prayers were daily rituals for many citizens. Religion provided guidance, comfort, and a shared cultural framework that united inhabitants from varied backgrounds. Trade in Londinium extended far beyond its borders. The Thames connected the city to continental Europe, facilitating the import and export of goods, ideas, and people. Merchants conducted business with traders from Gaul, Spain, and even the eastern provinces of the empire. Luxury items such as glassware, jewelry, and fine textiles arrived from distant lands, while local products like pottery, metalwork, and timber were shipped outward. Economic activity sustained a growing population and created an environment where ambition, skill, and enterprise could thrive. Health and sanitation were ongoing challenges. The Romans constructed rudimentary aqueducts, sewers, and public baths to maintain hygiene and prevent disease. Yet crowded streets, animal waste, and limited medical knowledge meant illness was common. Physicians practiced a mix of Roman and local remedies, relying on herbal medicine, surgical procedures, and observation. Public health initiatives were often limited to the wealthy or strategically important areas, leaving poorer citizens to navigate the dangers of urban living largely on their own. Despite these challenges, Londinium remained a city of life, growth, and resilience. The decline of Londinium was gradual but inevitable. Over the centuries, political instability, economic shifts, and external threats reshaped the city. Walls and fortifications expanded, then fell into disrepair. Trade patterns shifted, and the bustling markets of Roman Londinium slowly transformed under changing rulers and cultures. Yet even as structures crumbled and official records faded, the legacy of Roman planning, culture, and engineering endured. Roads, building foundations, and artifacts left traces that centuries later would reveal a civilization both sophisticated and deeply human. Hidden stories and mysteries lingered within the city. Archaeological excavations centuries later uncovered remnants of public buildings, private homes, coins, inscriptions, and tools, painting a vivid portrait of life long past. Secrets of daily routine, domestic life, and civic administration emerged, offering glimpses into human ambition, ingenuity, and resilience. Londinium's history is not merely a tale of ruins, but a story of a living, breathing city, vibrant with the lives of those who walked its streets, bartered in its markets, and dreamed within its walls. As night fell over the River Thames, lanterns flickered in the windows of timbered homes, shadows stretched along the cobblestones, and the sounds of the city quieted into a gentle hum. Londinium, with its blend of Roman order, local culture, and human ambition, had endured for generations. It was a city defined by its people, its river, and its place in history. Every stone, every artifact, every story whispered the narrative of a civilization that shaped the future of London for centuries to come. Londinium 1,500 years ago was more than a Roman outpost. It was a symbol of ambition, a hub of commerce, a stage for human drama, and a city whose legacy resonates even today. Its streets, temples, markets, and homes tell stories of life, struggle, innovation, and endurance. In exploring its secrets, we connect not only with history, but with the timeless human desire to build, create, and leave a mark on the world.